What two men came into this world and did not have a human father? Let me put it another way. What two men came into this world directly from God? There's only two of them. Did you get them? Adam and Jesus Christ. Both of them are referred to as sons of God. We know Jesus Christ is the only begotten Son of God. But in Luke, we see in his genealogy, it gets down to Adam, and it says Adam, son of God. Adam came directly from God. Jesus Christ came directly from God. And that's what Paul begins to deal with today. See, he's been giving us the foundation of our condemnation, which was Adam's sin. But as we saw last time, when we spoke of how you might say that's not fair, but how Adam, he was actually a type of Christ. Remember the end of verse 14, he was a type of him who was to come. So now he begins to deal with the foundation of our justification, or the foundation of us being declared righteous. We were condemned by the work of one, and now we're justified by the work of one. And that's what Paul begins to deal with. So Romans chapter 5, starting in verse 15, he says, but the gift is not like the offense. Now notice that the gift is not like the offense. Now, you may have been following in like, okay, this is what Adam did. By one man sin entered the world, death through sin, death spread to all men because all sin. Okay, I see what you're saying. Even over those who did not sin in the likeness of the transgression of Adam, even over those who didn't have an opportunity to hear a command and disobey it. Okay, I get it. That's the results of sin. And you said he was a type of him who was to come, that Adam was a type of Christ. Okay, if that's true, then what Adam did is like what Christ did. But that's not what Paul says. He says, but the gift is not like the offense. You say, wait a second, Paul. I thought you were setting us up to say the gift is like the offense. The gift of Christ is like the offense of Adam. I thought that's what you were about to say, Paul. What do you mean it's not like the offense? See, what Adam did, there are some similarities, you can say, or some parallels, but it's not like what Christ did. It's not even in the same field. It's not to be compared with Christ, because if we look down a little more, we see these two words we saw before, much more. See, what Jesus Christ did is much more, much greater than what Adam did. What Adam did isn't even to be compared to what Christ did. So it says, but the gift is not like the offense. For explanation, for if by the one man's offense many died, we understand that. We've been talking about that. Adam's offense, Adam's sin, he ate of the tree, and death spread to all men. We all suffer the consequences of his sin, the consequences of his offense. By one man's offense, many died. But listen, he says, much more the grace of God and the gift by the grace of the one man, Jesus Christ, abounded to many. So Paul is saying, I don't want you just to say, oh, Adam's sin is like what Christ did. What Adam did is like what Christ did. He's like, no, it's not to be compared. It's not even in the same ball field. No, what Jesus Christ did is so much infinitely higher and greater than what Adam did. They aren't even to be compared. Yes, we can contrast, we can see parallels, but they aren't even to be compared. Now, notice this. So he says, but the gift is not like the offense. Go down. Much more, the grace of God and the gift by the grace of the one man, Jesus Christ, abounded to many. You know, we've talked about this before. When we see repetition, there is emphasis. So what is Paul doing? He's emphasizing gift. He's emphasizing grace. See what Adam did? Adam, he was selfish. He was only concerned about himself. And he just sought to please himself. And the consequences spread to all men. But what Christ did, it wasn't that. Christ didn't just come, live a righteous life, and happen to get killed, and then people benefit from that. No, that's not what happened. See, Paul tells us Jesus Christ was in the very form of God, but he did not count equality with God something to be held on to, but he emptied himself. He emptied himself of all of his heavenly privileges. He emptied himself and came as the form of a slave in likeness of a man. And being found in appearance of a man, he humbled himself and was obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. And this didn't just happen, because in John, he tells us, for this reason my Father loves me, because I lay down my life that I may take it up again. No one takes it from me. I lay it down of myself and I take it up again. I have the power to lay it down, the power to take it up again. Jesus Christ willingly did this. And he did this out of a heart of love for those the Father gave him. He has a huge, infinite heart of love for the believer. If you have put your faith in Christ, if you will put your faith in Christ, you will experience his infinite love, and you have access to this infinite love relationship, this eternal love relationship. So what Jesus Christ did, he came, and out of a heart of love. Why do you give someone a gift? Because you have a heart of love toward them. You want to show something to them. You want to bless them. And this is what Christ did. It wasn't like Adam. Adam had no intention. Adam was selfish. But Jesus Christ came with an infinite, eternal heart of love. So much so, he would lay aside the infinite riches of heaven, come into this sin-cursed world, live for 33 years, endure the nails through his hands, endure the crown of thorns, endure the spitting, and endure the beating, endure the flogging, and his flesh get ripped off, and endure the infinite, the eternal wrath of God poured out on his head, that he might give a gift of grace. Grace is something we can't earn. Grace is something we do not deserve. But Jesus Christ came. Remember, I said in the last devotional, we don't want fair. We want grace. We want the gift of grace through the one man, Jesus Christ. That's what we want. So what is Paul doing? He's saying, look, Adam did this, I'll suffer for it. But what Christ did is much more, much greater, infinitely greater than what Adam did. So my challenge to you today is take your mind off of what Adam did. Take your mind off of sin. Take your mind off of condemnation. And put your mind on the gift, the grace of God, and that one man, Jesus Christ.